Hi guys, it's Mr. Varney, and we're going to be looking for math in and around the classroom. So let's look around and see what we can find. The fish tank. Okay, when I looked at this, I thought about, oh, I really need to fill that tank. There's the math. How do we fill this tank, and how long is it going to take? Well, we need to fill the tank to the top, but we can't carry the tank over to the sink. It's too heavy. It's only made out of plastic. It might break. So how do we fill the tank? Well, we're going to go over to the sink, fill up some sort of container, bring the water back, and put it into the tank. Depending on the size of our container and the rate that the water is coming out, this is going to take some amount of time. And if I want to know what time to do some math to figure that out. So the first piece of information we need to know is how much water do we need? And how do we measure the amount of water? We use volume. This tank is a rectangular prism, and we know how to find the volume of rectangular prisms if we just know the dimensions. So, time to measure some dimensions. I will measure the width of the tank, the depth of the tank, now for the height. I don't want the whole tank because I don't want to know how much water the whole tank holds. I only want to know how much more water we want to add. And I'm going to fill it up just about a centimeter from the top. So it looks like it's 8 centimeters. With that information, we can now calculate our volume. You can see here that I knew that the volume of a rectangular prism was found by multiplying the length and the width and the height, and did that over here, and my answer came out to 9,976 centimeters cubed. Okay, now that's helpful, but centimeters cubed isn't usually the way we talk about volume of water. And so since I'm going to be measuring my water with a beaker, that uses milliliters. We know that 1 cubic centimeter is the same as 1 milliliter. So this answer is also equivalent to 9,976 milliliters. Okay? All right, so my next big question is, how long is it going to take to get all the water I need out of the sink? I need to figure out a way to measure the speed of the water coming out of the sink, or at least know a rate of how much volume per minute this sink puts out. What I'm going to do here is take this giant beaker, fill it up to my 3,000 milliliter mark, and time that. So let's do it. Alright, sink's on full blast there. Okay, 3,000 milliliters of water. Time for me to check the video and see how long it took. You already know it took 37 seconds to fill up that 3,000 milliliters of water. So I did some calculations. And here you can see I wanted to find out a unit rate. I wanted to know how many milliliters per minute. And I did my conversion to find out how many milliliters per 1 second, and then I multiplied by 60 to find out that there are 4,865 milliliters per minute coming out of that sink. Then I realized, hey, you know what? I could take that information, I can find out exactly how long it would take to fill the fish tank straight from the sink. So I did another conversion here, and here you can see I said I want to find the time for a full 9,976 milliliters. If you remember from before, that was the volume of empty space in the tank that we need to fill. So I actually found a unit rate, how long it takes for 1 milliliter to come out. And it happens extremely fast. Comes out in less than a second. And then I multiplied that number by 9,976. And one thing I was careful about here is, since this is a repeating decimal, I didn't just round it. I actually, when I used the calculator, I left that answer in the calculator and I multiplied that answer by 9,976 to make sure I didn't lose any parts. When you're multiplying by a number this big, even if you've rounded just a small amount off, this final answer will be very different. So I found out that that whole tank will fill up in 2 minutes and 3 seconds. But there's one more step, because as we know, we can't bring the fish tank to the sink. So we need to come up with a way to factor in how much time it's going to take for me to walk from the sink to the fish tank and how many trips I'll have to take. 3,000 milliliters in the tank. With a little more math, now I know it took 25 seconds to walk from the sink and pour 3,000 milliliters of water into the tank. For me to reach my 9,976 milliliters, I'd have to make that trip at least 1, 2, 3 times, which would get me up to 9,000 milliliters. And then I'd need approximately another 1,000 milliliters. So to know how long that would take, I decided, well, if 3,000 takes 25 seconds, it's going to be about 1/3 the time. So I divide by 3. I divide by 3. It's approximately 8 seconds for that last 1,000 milliliters. So my total time for walking and pouring water is now 25, 25, 25 is 75, plus my 8, 83 seconds of just walking and pouring out the water. If we add that to our numbers from before, the amount of time that it took just to fill, we'll have our total answer. Let's do the math. We had 2 minutes and 3 seconds of fill time. That's just to fill the water that we need into the beaker. That doesn't count walking or pouring it out. We then calculated that it was going to take 75 plus 8, 83 seconds to walk and pour the water. So we have 1 minute, 23 seconds, plus our filling time. So we're at 3 minutes, and 3 plus 23, we're at 26 seconds. So according to our calculations, we need a total of 3 minutes and 26 seconds for me to use the sink, fill up my beaker, and walk it over to the fish tank so that they can have a nice full tank of water. That seems like it makes sense.